Hey, what's happening, guys? It's Leo, and it's been a while since I've done another installment of this series, Comic Origins or Not, the show where we dive into some of our favorite comic book adaptations, whether they be superhero movies, whether they be TV series, animated cartoon series, etc. So we dive into the adaptation, and then we pick out 3 characters. Then we explore the origins of these 3 characters to discover whether they came from comic book origins or if they came from the adaptation themselves. So the adaptation we are going to dive into for this particular episode is the MCU movie that kicked off the MCU, 2008's Iron Man. So the 3 characters we are going to explore are Pepper Potts, Agent Phil Coulson, and Christine Everhart. Alright, so shall we get started? As of right now, everybody knows about Pepper Potts. Iron Man has definitely become a household name in the entertainment industry. So most people, if not everybody, should know who Pepper Potts is in terms of the MCU. So Pepper Potts started as Tony Stark's personal assistant, and as the MCU progressed, she became his love interest and eventual wife. And she eventually donned, an Iron Man armor, an Iron Man-like armor herself, and adapted the name Rescue as her superhero mantle. But was her origins in the MCU itself? Did she originate from 2008's Iron Man itself? Or does she have a comic book origin that not many people know about? Well, we will find out at the end of the episode. Moving on, Christine Everhart. Christine Everhart had a small role in the movie. She appeared in Iron Man 1 and Iron Man 2. She's basically a journalist for Vanity Fair who Tony ends up having a one-night stand with before he goes off to Afghanistan. So, was Christine Everhart a comic book character, or did she originate in this movie? Yep, like I said, we are only going to go for unknown characters, and I bet just about nobody knew who Christine Everhart was until Iron Man came out. But is that natural? Did she originate in Iron Man? Did she originate in Iron Man, the first movie itself? At which case, yeah, it would make sense that nobody knew about her until Iron Man, because she would have had debuted in the movie itself. She would not have existed before then, right? We will find out at the end of the episode. So, moving on up, Agent Phil Coulson. Agent Phil Coulson has been a major character in the MCU. As far as movies are concerned, as far as the MCU is concerned, he debuted in 2008's Iron Man. We all know that. And then he would go on to have his own show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Before that, he would appear in other movies. He would appear in the Avengers. He would meet his supposed end in the first Avengers movie to be revived in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then from there, he was the star of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., one of the stars. So, as far as the MCU, we all know he started in the first Iron Man movie. But was that his debut period? Or did he have a comic origin? Well, we shall find out. Okay, place your guesses. Where did these 3 characters originate? Let's take a 5-second break so you can think about your guesses. Okay, how'd you do? Let's find out. Pepper Potts. Pepper Potts originated from the comic books. That's right, she's a comic book original. She made her debut in Marvel Comics Tales of Suspense number 45 in 1963. A lot of her comic book origins are similar to her role in the MCU. She definitely is Tony Stark's secretary, personal assistant. The funny thing is, she didn't become Tony's official girlfriend until way later. She was just like infatuated with him. So yeah, it's similar. What's also interesting is she actually had a long time romance with Happy Hogan in the comics. And eventually she does become Rescue in the comics after an injury. So that's different. Yeah, she had an injury, and to save her life, yeah, Tony did some things. He did some things. I gotta get into the detail of it. He did some things to help her. Eventually that led to her becoming Rescue. Yeah, it's not like in the movies where at that time they had already been in a relationship for a long time, and he just decides to make her a suit. So yeah, there's that. She didn't have any big injuries that caused her to become Rescue in the movies, but in the comics that's how it happened. So moving on. Next we have Christine Everhart. Christine Everhart was a comic book character as well, making her debut in Iron Man, in an Iron Man comic in 2003. Her role was similar to her role in the MCU. She's a journalist. The only difference is, in the comics, she was a journalist for the Daily Bugle. Everybody knows what the Daily Bugle is, right? Come on, Daily Bugle, Peter Parker. But the thing was, they had to change her origins in the MCU because at the time, Marvel didn't have the screen rights to Spider-Man, so therefore they had to give her the origins of being a journalist for Vanity Fair. And then finally we have Phil Coulson. Now, Phil Coulson, what do you guys think? I mean, before the MCU, Christine Everhart and Pepper Potts were unknown to the public eye, yet they came from the comics. Could the same be said for Phil Coulson? Phil Coulson originated in Iron Man the movie of 2008. Yep, so he is indeed an MCU original. He debuted in this particular adaptation. He would go on to have, like I said, more roles, more crucial roles in the MCU down the line, but we're just talking about his origins, and in this case, he originated in the MCU itself. So there you have it. 3 characters, and we all learned something about them. We learned about their origins. Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure to get another episode done. Just feel free to join me for the next episode because I will be cranking these out a little more. They might not come as fast as my other videos, is because, they take research and they take time. But anyway, thank you for joining me for another episode of Comic Origins or Not. I'm Leo, and I will catch you in the next upload.